Tony Robbins has stood in front of arenas of 15,000 people and made grown men cry. Break boards with their hands and walk across burning coals. It's easy to write that off as showmanship. I want to tell you why that would be a mistake. Underneath the theatrics is one of the most useful frameworks I've ever come across for running a post-production facility under deadline pressure. Something I did for 25 years for clients like Disney, NBCUniversal, Fox, and the NFL. Robbins calls it state management. I call it the difference between a team that falls apart under pressure and a team that performs its best work precisely when it matters most. This is Through My Lens. I'm Jeffrey Weiss, your leadership coach, and today we're putting Tony Robbins under the lens. Robbins' central idea is deceptively simple. Your emotional state, not your circumstances, determines your performance in any given moment. And your state is controlled by three things you can actually manage: your physiology, your focus, and your language. Change any one of those on purpose, and your state changes with it, regardless of what's happening around you. Do you agree that focus is the key driver of energy in your room? Let me know in the comments. Here's why that matters to you if you've ever run a room under pressure. The circumstances in post-production are rarely good. A drive fails at 2 a.m. before a morning delivery. A client changes the brief the day before the shoot. The client walks in during a color session and hates every choice you've made. Those circumstances are identical whether your editor melts down or holds it together. What's different is the state they walked in with and whether anyone in that room, meaning you, had the discipline to manage the room's state on purpose. Robbins' phrase for this is, where focus goes, energy flows. If everyone in the room is focused on how badly this has gone wrong, the whole room's energy drops into panic, and panic produces worse decisions and slower hands. If you, as the leader, can redirect the room's focus, even for 30 seconds, onto the next concrete action instead of the disaster, the energy in the room follows your focus, not the crisis. I want to make this concrete because manage your state can sound like something you'd hear at a wellness retreat, not something useful at 11 at night with a delivery on the line. Here's how I actually apply it. Physiology first. When a crisis hits, most people's bodies do the wrong thing automatically. Shoulders up, breathing shallow, voice speeding up. If you, as the leader, walk into that room breathing fast and talking faster, you have just told everyone's nervous system that this is officially a 5-alarm fire. I trained myself walking into any crisis to physically slow my own pace before I said a word. Slower walk, lower voice, longer pause before responding. Your team reads your body before they process your words, and your body sets the emotional temperature of the room whether you intend it to or not. Focus second. In a crisis, untrained teams focus on the problem. How did this happen? Whose fault is it? How bad is this going to look? That focus produces exactly one thing: more panic. My job in that moment is to redirect focus onto the very next concrete action. Not, why did the drive fail? That conversation happens tomorrow in the post-mortem. Tonight, the only question that matters is, what's our fastest path to a deliverable file? Language third, and this is the one people underestimate most. The words a leader chooses in a crisis get repeated by the team verbatim, sometimes for years. If I say we're screwed, that phrase becomes the story the crew tells. If I say we've recovered from worse than this, that becomes the story instead. Robbins is obsessive about this. The vocabulary you use under pressure isn't decoration. It's instruction to everyone listening about how afraid they're allowed to be. Does this resonate with you? I'd love to hear your comments on the specific words you use to lead your team through a crisis. Robbins talks a lot about priming, deliberate rituals athletes and performers use before high-stakes moments to put themselves into their best state on purpose. Most post-production teams have zero equivalent of this. They walk from a stressful commute straight into a client session, carrying whatever state the traffic left them in. Here's what I built at AVS once I understood this. Before any high-stakes client session, I required a 5-minute reset for the room. Not a pep talk, a genuine pause. Close the door, put the phones down, walk through exactly what good looks like for this session in plain language. It sounds almost too simple to matter. It changed outcomes constantly because it meant my team walked into the highest pressure moments in a chosen state. The other piece Robbins hammers on is that peak performers manage their state daily, not just during crises, because the crisis doesn't announce itself in advance. A team that's already running on empty at 9 in the morning has no reserve left when the actual emergency shows up at 4. I started paying attention to whether my senior editors were leaving the building at a reasonable hour on the nights nothing was on fire. Because the leader who lets the team run depleted on the easy days has no state left to manage on the hard ones. I'll give you the real story because this framework only means something if I show you it costs something to apply. We had an NFL delivery, hard broadcast window, no flexibility, the kind where the network doesn't care about your excuses. 4 minutes before we needed to hand off, our primary storage failed, not slowed down, failed. My first instinct, honestly, was the same panic everyone else in that room felt. My chest tightened, my voice wanted to speed up. I caught myself doing exactly what I now teach people not to do. And I had maybe 10 seconds to correct it before my state became the room state. I made myself slow my breathing before I said a single word out loud. I picked one sentence and used it deliberately. We've recovered from worse. Redundant drive now. Not calm because I felt calm because the room needed me to be. We hit the backup, we made the handoff with seconds to spare, and the editor told me afterward that the only reason she didn't freeze was that I didn't look like I was going to. That's the whole framework in one sentence. I did not control the circumstance. I controlled my state on purpose in real time, and the room followed it. Here's what I want you to take from Tony Robbins. Stripped of the arena lights and the theatrics, your team's performance under pressure is not primarily a function of talent or tools. It's a function of state, theirs and yours, and whether anyone in the room is managing it on purpose instead of leaving it to chance. You cannot control when the drive fails. You can control your physiology, your focus, and your language in the 60 seconds after it happens. That's Tony Robbins, Through My Lens. I'm Jeffrey Weiss, your leadership coach. If this gave you something to use in your next crisis, like subscribe and check the link for my book, Leading the Cut, the definitive leadership book for the media and entertainment industry. Let me know in the comments what you liked best and least, and I'll see you in the next one.